Good morning, Transplant Helper community. My name is Jim Merle, and I want to ask you a very simple question on today's video, and that is, how many of you consider yourself blessed to have received an organ transplant? How many of you consider yourself blessed? You know, to receive the gift of life via transplant, in one sense, is certainly a blessing. To be able to spend more time with your family, with your friends, to enjoy their company, to be a part of life, is always going to be a blessing. To know that someone was willing to make that sacrifice to give the gift of life so that you might have an organ transplant, and to know their family even supported that decision that allowed you to have that wonderful transplant, that is a blessing. But I want you to listen to me for just a moment today, and please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because what I'm about to say does not take away from the blessing that we have to have been gifted the gift of life via transplant and to have those extra moments and days in our lives. However, I do want to point something out. Those individuals, and there are many, more than receive the gift of life, do not. We know from statistics that hundreds of thousands of people wait every day on the gift of life, and many of them die never to receive it. As a matter of fact, we learn from statistics that scores of people die every day, having never gotten to the point, maybe where you are watching this video, to have had a transplant, to have had those doors open and to be able to walk through those doors and to be able to have their life extended and most likely even made better. Some don't receive that gift. But I don't want you to assume for a second that those people are less blessed than I am. I don't want you to think for a moment that they are less blessed than you are because they did not receive that gift. On the same vein and by the same manner, if you're a person like I am, I've lived 5.5 years post-transplant, and they have been good years, okay? I have experienced many, many things that I would not have experienced in life had I not received the gift of life. However, my 5.5 years doesn't make me more blessed than someone who did not make it that long. I've got countless friends in the Transplant Helper community, honestly, and to be honest about it, I've had to mention this a time or two lately, who lived after transplant, yes, but they did not live as long as I have so far. I've got a number of friends in the transplant community, however, who have lived many, many years. Some of you have lived decades, 20, 30, even one person who has made it right at the 40-year mark now, and they consider themselves to be blessed, and I don't argue with that. But friends, if we do not make it to transplant, or if someone that we know does not make it to transplant, they are no less blessed than we are. Or if they make it through the transplant surgery itself and don't make it very many moments, very many days, very many years, they're no blessed than we are either. So yeah, I'm happy to say, you might even say I'm proud to say that I've had a pretty successful transplant, that things have gone pretty well, and I like to share that with you. I like to encourage you in saying that. But keep in mind that life itself is a blessing. And when we measure life in seconds and minutes and hours and days and months and years, that's how we measure life. And that's completely normal, completely acceptable. But friends, blessings are not based on mere time. They're not based on the mere supposed successes of transplant. You know, whether or not a person becomes a marathon runner, or becomes a cyclist, or becomes whatever it is they wanted to do, and gets to moving, and gets to enjoying life in the way that they pictured, or maybe the way someone else pictures their life to be. That does not make up a blessing. Blessings are made by God, okay? Blessings are made by breaths that we take on this side of eternity, or better yet, on the other side of eternity. So I just want to pause for just a moment and say that I'm going to hopefully change my perspective. Hopefully I'm going to change some of my wording. Maybe when I'm on Facebook making posts, maybe on Twitter, maybe on Instagram. When I make posts and I talk about my life to hopefully encourage others, I want to make a change and start saying that we are all blessed, okay? We all have physical blessings in this life, and a part of those blessings may be transplant. A part of those blessings may be time after transplant. But friends, if you've not made it to transplant yet, and maybe you never do, or if maybe you've had that transplant and maybe you don't find the success that I do, or that the next person over here does, or the next person over there does, please don't forget, you are blessed. You have been blessed to be a part of this life. And if you do your life right, if you live your life in the right way, you will be blessed to be a part of every time of life. I appreciate your attention today. I hope you'll consider continuing to watch these programs, maybe even subscribe and hit the bell notification. But just know, whatever condition you're in this life, you are blessed. Stay stronger, friends.